and welcome to another episode of the Classic Chloe Show, where we talk about music and its effects on every aspect of our daily lives. I'm your host, Chloe Castillo, and I have another fantastic guest for you today, my friend Jonathan Koeppel. Jonathan, welcome to the show. Great to have you on here.
Hey, Chloe, I'm pumped. This is going to be good.
Of course. So let's dive right in here to talk about music and our culture. I know you're not exactly, a huge musician, but you do sing. You have a beautiful voice. So you do know about, you are very, I think, would say well versed in the power of music. I think you're familiar with the importance of music and the role it plays in our society. So let's talk about, um, let's talk about the role of the family. Let's talk about how, in our culture, let's dive into the role music plays in influencing the youth. And, you know, you've done a clip before. I've seen this on your social media where you talk about how the school system in America is starting to replace the role of the family, and it's the effects that it's having are not, I would say, a good one for our nation. So let's roll that clip and let's talk about after that the and how the music industry and how entertainment on the whole has been replacing the role of the family as well. So let's go ahead and roll that clip from Jonathan.
Children are confused. What can be done to fix that?
A child relies on someone else to instruct them and to teach them. Parents have to be very involved, and then we see the destruction of family now. And this is a global phenomenon where people are waiting later in life to get married. They're maybe having one kid versus a lot of kids are opting to have no kids. And so the role of family is being replaced by the school systems, at least in the United States. And so the teachers become the parents, and they're raising the children, and the teachers instructing the children on their personal viewpoints of life and their ideologies. The root is where are the parents teaching and raising the children, because the teacher should teach the child how to read, how to write, how to do math, maybe learn some science, but not about what type of sexual preferences do you have at 9 and 8 years old.
It's a very powerful clip, and I think it's very poignant when it comes to this discussion about music. So, in a way, some people will tell you, oh, well, the role of the family is the only, instructional role in the child's life. Their basic values should come from their parents. And I would say that's generally very true. However, it's literally impossible to keep kids away from our everyday culture. You can't isolate them. That's also not good for them either. So, what would you say the impact is that music has on individuals, especially the youth, when it comes to teaching certain ideologies?
Well, first of all, what's really interesting is that particular speech I gave in a Muslim country, and they also identified with that same message. So, culture as a whole is shifting, and TikTok, Instagram, what's being put on the playlist on Spotify has a lot to do with where the culture is going. And of course, we know politics is usually downstream of culture. And so we see what happens in music and Hollywood through social media with the influencers. And the next thing you know, we see legislation that kind of legalizes and promotes all these nasty concepts. And so I think about music, and if you go way back in time, you got people like Chuck Berry who invented rock and roll. Basically, that was like evil music, and that got the kids dancing. And then you had James Brown, and he was getting the white kids and the black kids to dance together, and that was like all risque. And that in a sense, it was a good thing. But today, what I'm seeing and what you see and everybody sees, you turn on the radio, and if you're listening to like regular secular radio, especially in hip hop, it's a little bit in country music now too, but a lot of the music is extremely degrading towards like women. It paints a sick picture of life. It uplifts all the wrong things. There's a song about a dance for anxiety. Um, Somebody's watching me, or it's my anxiety. It's a viral song, and it's like promoting anxiety. It's like normalizing it. It's really not normal. You've got people like Little Red putting out songs talking about her genitalia and private parts, and how many men she slept with. So that shapes the mind of the listener, and what you consume. It's like food in the body. When you work out, if you eat protein and you eat lean, you're going to look like you consume protein. You're going to look fit. If you're listening to garbage, your brain is going to be filled with garbage. And we're seeing that right now.
Absolutely, so well said. So, can we take a minute just to recognize you mentioned some of the concepts that are promoted in our mainstream music these days. Can we all just agree here as individuals with hopefully an ounce of common sense that it's really weird? I mean, at what point did we shift from singing about dancing and, men and women, the way men used to treat women in songs, at least, there was a level of respect, there was a level of dignity, and, you had love songs about relationships, but it wasn't about, you know, whatever the what one song is, bend, that over and let whatever breathe. It's like, what are we doing? I mean, can we at least acknowledge that there's a level of insanity there, that's considered normal in society? Not just that it's a concept that, some people might laugh about privately or whatever. It's just becoming normal and becoming what we expect out of our music industry and out of our culture. And I think you make a very good point there, talking about, um, just the fact that you are what you consume. Repeat that all the time. I think it's extremely important to understand that you are what you consume. And it's just as basic as food. I mean, with food, you can really see it on an individual when they're eating, except for Trump somehow. He seems to avoid the most, the worst parts of a Big Mac. I don't know how he does it. But beyond that, most people, they eat McDonald's every day. They're going to look like they eat McDonald's every day. And when it comes to music, the problem is that we've become accustomed to the I would say the effects of and the results of the music we've been consuming. So you see someone that consumes this kind of music and you think, yeah, that's just normal. That's just how they're supposed to act, how they're supposed to behave in society. The way women are dressing, the way men are treating women, it's just become normal. And, masculinity has declined and in massive amounts in these past few years. Men are afraid to be men nowadays. They think, oh, it's overpowering and it's toxic and blah blah blah. All the terms are so familiar with, like toxic masculinity. Taylor Swift at her concert saying "F the patriarchy" to thousands, hundreds of thousands of young girls and their moms. I mean, at what point do we see this as crazy? And so I want to just ask you. I'd say you have a pretty clear head when it comes to just common sense matters, like you were just talking about. So, what would you say needs to happen for Americans on the whole to wake up to the, quite frankly, insanity of so much of what's being promoted in their culture?
Man, that's a loaded question. That's a loaded question. For my my belief, people need Jesus, number one. When people were focused on religion and their faith, whether through like Protestant practices of Christianity or Catholicism, people had some sort of standard of living. They had morals. Families would get together, go to church on Sunday. Stores used to be closed on Sunday. It was family day. Family was a big deal, and in a lot of religions, family is very important, and it's a focal point. So when there's no focus on family, you have individuals living for themselves. And when you live for yourself, you're basically idolizing yourself. You're creating this like idol worship of yourself. Everything's about indulgence. And we're living in a society of self indulgence. And so we're seeing basically what happened to Rome at the end of its life cycle when people were just living in self indulgence. And then we know what happened. Rome was once a very great empire, and then they became nothing. So I think people need to come back to faith. They're searching for something to fill the empty void inside of them, and they're going in all the wrong places. They're looking for things that can't fill them up, whether it's through sex, drugs, alcohol, just listening to degenerate music, going to the clubs. That's not going to fill the void inside. The only thing that's going to do that is if they come to know, I believe, Jesus Christ. So I think people need to come back to the Lord and get involved in Christianity at the end of the day. And then that's going to fix a lot of things. That's going to fix the family unit. That's going to just naturally, that makes things better. At least you see that in certain cities that have more of like a faith population than other cities.
Absolutely. And I think that a part of that, as conservatives and as Christians and people of faith ourselves, when it comes to what we consume, of course, we've all agreed here that that's very important. So when it comes to creation of that, the creation of what people are consuming, I think as conservatives who know that, like what you just said, that honestly God is the only answer, a faith and a strong faith in our Lord and Savior, and beyond that, just the, like you said, the actual religion itself that has the structures needed for a successful society and a successful nation, a strong nation, that's all based in that. So when it comes down to what's being created, I feel like it's our role as conservatives and as Christians to promote and to, to fund, to whatever it may be, the artists who are actually creating good culture and good music and music that actually directs people towards those values. And so I think that's just incredibly important. And beyond just Christian music, I talk about this a lot. I think people get kind of confused, like, "Oh, are you bashing Christian music?" I'm not. I think Christian music is great, but I think that at a certain point, there has to be music out there that's not just about Christianity specifically, but it's about values of Christianity, if that makes sense. So, values of family, values of, men and women treating each other, how the Bible says we should treat each other. And those kind of concepts, I think, need to be really promoted and lifted up in our culture and our society and through music especially. So let's talk about I kind of want to get your opinion on what the youth is consuming these days. I think the youth in America, we've talked about a minute ago, how ridiculous it is in some of the songs, the concepts. What are your thoughts on getting the youth on track to even want to accept a new music culture? Let's say a new music culture emerges in America. We have great music. Do you think they're going to automatically want to embrace that? Or do you think they're going to be so stuck on the values that they've been indoctrinated with, quite honestly, through the left's culture? Is that's going to be a hardship? I think they're going to actually want to embrace this new culture.
So I think you're going to love this response. I'm from the New Orleans, Louisiana area. Okay. And so New Orleans is known for brass bands, jazz music. Fats Domino's from New Orleans, Louis Armstrong's from New Orleans. Okay. What a wonderful world. When I was a kid, if you went to the French Quarter, there were people playing instruments and singing at the same time on the side of the street everywhere. Everybody wanted to go to NOCA, which was like a performing arts academy, to learn how to be a really good musician, really good singer, really good performer. The bands at the high school bands were just insane. The level of musicality out of this world. We had that in New Orleans at one point, and it made young people appreciate music differently because they knew about the roots of music and they knew about jazz and they knew about heritage. I think today, I went to the French Quarter earlier this year. I didn't see hardly anybody playing music on the streets like they used to. What we have are random people singing karaoke with a speaker that requires no talent at all. There might be one or two brass bands. There's a few families that still, hold it down for the music scene. But I think if you had an opportunity to revive the culture of music, it's going to be through teaching young people how to play music. And it's going to be teaching them how to appreciate music because today's music is not really inspiring. But when you hear like Louis Armstrong, What a Wonderful World, or you listen to an old song like Blueberry Hill, which it's not like appeasing, compared to today's standards, but you hear the story and it's like, man, I can picture myself in that period of time singing this song, and like the story behind it has a meaning, and it's not like some sick kind of perverted and twisted image of life. It's just a nice song. And so I think exposing people to beauty will inspire them. Beauty inspires men, and if they're not exposed to beauty, they're not going to be inspired.
That is so true. I think we've seen a true decline in beauty and appreciation of beauty in our culture, whether it be architecture, or whether it be music or film. There's so you turn on the TV, not that there's anything wrong with horror film inherently, but it's all horror, it's all ugly. The beauty is missing. Where are the comedy shows, Where are the love stories that aren't perverse? Where are just, what
Cancer.
happened to television? What happened then, of course, music? I mean, I mean, I've told this story a few times. I went to create my first Spotify account a few years ago, and it gives you like the suggested artist, and it was like an entire page of hell. And I'm like, what is this? It's all the artists, they all look so dark, they all look so demonic, they all look so, just depressing, honestly. And then Taylor Swift was like the one artist that looks halfway decent. We all know, the issues with her. And so, I mean, it's amazing when you look at what we're being fed too. And so I want to ask you, you were just mentioning there how teaching people to appreciate music, teaching people to appreciate beauty is important as well. So, and you mentioned some old songs there. I love Louis Armstrong. What a Wonderful World is an amazing song. I love Ella Fitzgerald, all the old greats. I'm a huge jazz fan. I grew up, I'm not sure, are you familiar with Jim Colum?
Mm-mm, no.
He was from New Orleans. He was a New Orleans great artist, trumpet player, and he would play in San Antonio when I was a kid. And I'd play in between his sets. He'd go, he'd take a break from his set, and okay, kid, take over the piano for me. And I grew up with that kind of music, so I really appreciated it, and it was home to me. And so I think that you have a really good point there. And I think that I just kind of want to ask you, what happened to the appreciation of beauty in our culture? Where do you think that went downhill? Do you think it was just complacency on our part to just consume, consume, consume whatever is popular and is, what the left tells us is important? Or do you think I mean, I'm baffled, honestly, personally. I'm not sure exactly where that turned around. I think feminism had a huge part, to do with this. I think that the degrading of the family had a huge part to do with this. But what are your thoughts? Where do you think music really declined and why?
Um, that again, I mean, I'm pretty on with like feminism being the ruiner of American society. Like I'm all about women having the right to speak up and work and vote. Like that's totally normal, but the rest of it is just a bunch of nonsense. Um, man, I don't know. I think when MTV came out and was doing the music videos and uh, sex was selling. So all the songs started showing like girls in bikinis, like barely wearing any clothes. I think Pepsi did a commercial with, oh God, who was it? Maybe it was Britney Spears or something. But you started seeing the promotion of these women that were basically just selling their bodies instead of the music. If you look at old artists like from the 70s and 60s, they weren't like necessarily handsome men or pretty women by today's standards. They were really good performers and really good singers. Today, you don't really have to be a good singer or a good performer. You just have to be hot. Like they want to put a hot person in front of people because that's what sells. So I don't know. There's a lot. Like people have just lowered their standards for everything. I mean, you go to I'm sure you see it. I don't know what part of the country you're in, but if you go to a shopping center or the grocery store, people are wearing pajamas, slippers. They don't care what they look like. 70% of Americans are obese. They don't care about their body anymore. Um, it's a lot of things are going downhill, a lot. And there isn't an appreciation for the finer things in life in America. I've been to Turkey, I've been to Brazil, I've been to Central America, I've been to Qatar, I've been to Thailand, and it's like I get inspired when I go to those places because there's still somewhat of a focus on beauty. And then I come back home and everything's square, everything's dull, bricks, mortar, and just streets. That's it, and red lights. So I don't know, man. That's a tough one. That's a tough one.
Yeah, so I think you have a really good point there, though. I think, and I know you told me this a minute ago, don't quiz me on music here, and I give you a super tough music question. But I think you don't really need to be well versed though in a way. Like what you just said, I think is very true, and just the whole idea that we have lost our appreciation for beauty, and beyond that, like you said, it used to be what was selling was the music and the musicality and the musicians, ability to play and to create amazing music. And if you liked it, great. If you didn't, oh well. Now it's a matter of they are the entire trend of our society. Hollywood has completely taken over the music industry as well, and it's become just this one massive machine. And I think you see that. I mean, you see artists who basically all they're selling is their, themselves, also I would say their soul along the way. But but you see it's all just a packaged image and they all look exactly the same in my opinion. I mean, of course there's differences, but they all have this I'm owned by Hollywood look. And we are missing, I mean, you used to see Ella Fitzgerald or Peggy Lee or whoever else, back in the day, Doris Day. Sure, they're beautiful women, but they were covered and they were artists, and their beauty wasn't just because it was a shock factor beauty. It was beauty because they were actually presented themselves as beautiful people with beautiful art to share. And I think that that's really missing in these days. So let's do a couple ads, quick ad break here, and have more back from Jonathan Koeppel in just a moment.
Looking to give your wardrobe an upgrade? Well, look no further. Here at God Country & Kin, we've got you covered from head to toe, from shoulder to shoulder, and everything in between. Introducing our brand new Patriotic Collection, designed to display your patriotic spirit with a stylish look that's sure to turn heads. And the best part is, you don't have to break the bank to be your best you. Why wait? Visit us online or in-store today and elevate your style with God Country & Kin. God Country & Kin, where patriotism meets style. Shop now. Visit the Patriot TV store and look for the God Country Kin banner to find the perfect outfit, shirt, accessory, or maybe a great hat. You can totally see yourself rocking this hat. I know you can. And check out all the great stuff we've got to show your patriotism at patriot.tv.store. Click that link above that says store and join me there at the Patriot TV store.
Attention American business owners, big or small, your company deserves to be seen, and Patriot TV is here to help. We're proud to support American-owned businesses by offering a free listing of your company on Patriot TV Store. That's right, No cost, just visibility to millions of loyal viewers who want to support American businesses like yours. Whether you run a small business or a nationwide company, this is your chance to reach a dedicated audience on Patriot TV Store, on major smart TVs like Samsung, LG, Sony, TCL, Roku, also on Apple, Android, Amazon, Fire Stick, YouTube, Facebook, Rumble, Truth Social, X, and of course, the Patriot TV Store app and website. It's our way of giving back to the community and helping American businesses thrive. Let's work together to build a stronger America. Don't miss out on this incredible opportunity. Get your free business listing today. Contact us at info@patriot.tv.
I couldn't give anything a higher endorsement.
I would be remiss had I not include Cardio Miracle on my very short list of secrets.
It's the real deal. It's a real product. It's not another supplement.
I'm operating about 6 to 8 hours, and I've noticed that being on this Cardio Miracle has made a huge difference.
Since I started taking Cardio Miracle, about 8 months into it, the benefits have been fantastic.
You know, if I get hungry, then I just have a Cardio Miracle.
Not only is it safe, but it's necessary to take Cardio Miracle to stay well.
This let me sleep. It's showing up more energy, more get up and go, and it's all because of what this company does.
For me as a doctor, Cardio Miracle is a staple.
Cardio Miracle to me is hope in a glass.
To try Cardio Miracle for yourself and get a special fan discount, go to the host page right now and click the link for Cardio Miracle.
What do a neurosurgeon, a country artist, and a television and radio host have in common? They all saw the writing on the wall. Big banks sharing your financial information with big government. Join them as owners in Old Glory Bank, the pro-America online bank that protects your privacy, security, and liberty. Invest today at own.oldglorybank.com.
When things go sideways, will you be ready? Meet the new Patriot Power Generator 1200, a solar generator that's lightweight with more capacity and more life cycles, and recharges twice as fast, all at a fraction of the price. In a blackout, power lights, TVs, medical equipment, even your fridge. No gas, fumes, or noise. It's safe to use inside your home. This is about peace of mind. To learn more about this amazing generator and get your free solar panel, go to Patriot TV Store and look for the solar generator banner.
Think you need a new roof? Think again. Roofs aren't made like they used to be. They have significantly less asphalt in them than they did 20 years ago. That's causing roofs to wear out way before they should. Roof Max can extend the life of your roof for at least 5 and up to 15 years, guaranteed. 9 out of 10 roofs qualify. Restore your roof at a fraction of the cost for a new roof. Mention Patriot TV and get their $859 roof tune-up for free. Call 1-800-ROOF-MAX. Great to have you on the show, Jonathan. Thank you for being here. So let's do a little switcheroo here on the show. We've talked a lot about culture and about, how music's affecting it. Now, you wrote a song a while back, a tribute, and I think it's an absolute beautiful song. I just want to get, first of all, before I play it, I just want to get your the backstory on that song just quickly, and also just explain to my audience, why you thought it was an important thing to write, and just the story on that beautiful tribute.
Oh, I'm glad you liked it. Thank you for your kind words. So a while ago, I was writing a song with a friend of mine, and we were just thinking of something that would be really impactful. And so we came up with this like chorus hook, "One day I'll see you again in heaven." And as a Christian, if you believe in Jesus, we believe that when someone dies, that they go to heaven. And one day when we get to heaven, we'll see our loved ones and we'll see others there with us. And so I kind of wrote it with that theme, and then I never produced it. I didn't put it out. And then I had talked with a friend of mine, Andy, who's actually rapping in the song. I said, Andy, man, I want to produce this song and I want you to sing a verse, and then I'll do the, I want you to rap a verse, because he does not sing. Andy cannot sing. So when he sees this, like, Andy, I'm sorry, he can't sing, but he can rap. That brother can rap. So I'm talking to him for like a while. We're talking about doing the song. And then next thing you know, major tragedy happens in New Orleans, and I call him. I'm like, Andy, we have to put this song out. The way New Orleans works is when stuff happens, people heal with music. when people die in New Orleans, they do a jazz funeral and have a party and play music and walk down the streets. So music is a massive part of Louisiana culture, and it's how people cope, and it's how people connect. It's how people heal. And so within like a week, we produced this song. I'm in Nashville, Tennessee. He's in New Orleans. He connects us with Cass May, who was on The Voice, and she was willing to be a part of the song, which was so awesome. And I was so glad that she got to sing on it. And next thing you know, we're in the city a week, maybe 2 weeks after the terrorist attack that took place, and we're doing like a prayer vigil. So we're out there, we're praying. People are coming by that witnessed the attack, that have still been lingering. People that are tourists are walking by. They're wanting us to pray with them. And then at the end of the night, we actually shot a music video on the scene and put it out there. And then what we were hoping to do was that the song would get out into the local area and people would connect with it and see it as a way to heal, but then also be reminded that like our life has like there's an expiration date on your life, and you will go somewhere at the end. Where is it going to be? And if you choose Jesus, you're going to go to heaven. And so we wanted to put out a song with a message, a song to bring healing, and a song to show people like, hey, no, there is a hope, that this isn't necessarily the end. It's just a like a bump in the road. It's just another chapter in the story. And actually, Andy says that. It talks about it's not the end. It's just another chapter in the story. And pain's real. Pain hurts. So yeah, we wanted to put this out, and we came together. 3 figures from the New Orleans area put this together in a very short period of time. It ended up making the news, local news, statewide news, and I don't know. It was a blessing to put it together and do it so quick, and everybody, just the way we contributed was awesome.
What a beautiful message. Let's go ahead and roll that clip.
Life will go on, but it won't be the same with you gone. The memories we made and the love that you gave will live on. And I know I'll see you again in heaven. The good Lord has promised a place where we can go, where forever we will worship and bow before the throne. I don't have to sit there wondering where I'm gonna go. Eternity is waiting.
So I think that video really speaks for itself there with the power of music, and I think that it's an absolutely beautiful tribute. I kind of wanted to give it justice on the show here. I kind of can't with that amount of time, but I highly suggest you go listen to that song. It's absolutely beautiful. So Jonathan, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate you. Please tell my audience where they can find you.
So you can find me anywhere on the internet. Just plug in Jonathan Koeppel on Google, at Jonathan Koeppel on social media. I kind of got all my accounts actually private right now. I'm doing some sort of refiguring out what being an influencer and all that looks like, but you can still find me, Jonathan Koeppel, on Google.
Perfect. Thank you so much for joining us, Jonathan. I appreciate you.
Thanks, Chloe.
Thank you so much for watching the episode. Please subscribe to the Classic Chloe Show on Rumble, YouTube, and Spotify. Please also follow me at classically_Chloe on Instagram and classically Chloe on all other platforms. See you next week. God bless.